Hello and welcome to the Drug Lifecycle Minute. I'm your host, Philip Day. My guest today is Dr. Mukesh Kumar, the Chief Innovation Officer of Drug Lifecycle, DLTA. Good afternoon, Dr. Kumar.
Hello, Philip. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Good to see you again. Our topic today is what can delay clinical trials. And this is something that a lot of people don't even think about. That during the research and development of a drug, there can be delays. And but specifically, what is the main reason clinical trials are delayed that you see in that industry?
Well, there is not one specific reason that I can say is predominantly cause for clinical trial delays, but there are a whole host of reasons why trials can get delayed. The most common reasons are bad planning. The people doing the trials did not plan it very well, so everything they do takes a little longer than it should. Another reason could be recruitment. Recruitment is a very common reason. If everything else is done well, but you can't find people to enroll in your trial, then you can't really control that. So recruitment is definitely a very common reason that everybody worries about. And then, cleaning of the data and making sure everything is properly documented. All those checks and balances that are there in place to make sure that everything that should be done is done could also add to the time. So if you have, again, it comes back to planning. If you haven't planned well and you're trying to catch up later, things that you missed, then all those things would lead to delays.
Okay. And there's a term that I saw too, and it's called lack of efficacy. What does that mean in clinical trials?
Well, every drug is approved based on safety and efficacy. So a drug could be safe, but it may not work. And efficacy is the effectiveness of the drug in curing the disease or preventing the disease that you're trying to cure or prevent. So, but there are many drugs which do not cause any bad things. They don't have any side effects, any major side effects, but they're also not very effective. That's what we mean by lack of efficacy. It is, it's a function of the drug. Not every drug would work the way we think it would. And several drugs do not work the way we think they would. So it happens in fairly commonly in drug development. It is the risk of developing a new drug, that your drug may not work.
Okay. Now, there are also issues associated with basic pharmacology and a misunderstanding of pre-trial correspondence with the FDA. And that can put a program at risk. Would you explain how that works exactly?
Well, I think pharmacology is one of the many things that people do. And pharmacology is basically knowing what your drug does when you take it, when it goes inside the body, how it is disposed of, how it is metabolized, how it acts wherever it's supposed to act, and what are the different products that could form when the drug works. So all those things are called pharmacological effects, and the clinical trial is done to understand the pharmacology of a given product. Before you start a trial, you have to go to FDA and get permission to do this trial. And for this permission, you will be presenting to FDA all this information that you know from your animal studies, from your, from other places, to tell FDA what exactly your drug is expected to do. And then in your trial, you make sure that it actually does what you thought it would do. So the clinical trial is to basically bridge the gap between expectations and reality.
I see.
And that really is, in a nutshell, what a clinical trial is.
Okay. And lastly, there is another cause of a delay or failure, and that's an inability to meet predetermined criteria and timelines that are set by the Federal Drug Administration. And many companies neglect these. Why does this happen, Dr. Kumar?
Well, anytime you don't follow the law, it's because either you were ignorant of it or you deliberately, did not do what you're supposed to do. You did not know about it, or you ignored it. So, and most of the times, the most common reason for people being behind on their commitments or on their regulatory commitments is because they did not plan well. And also, there are things that may not be under their control: logistics, business issues, finances. Many things are not under the control of the person to the trial, so you really can fall behind. So there are a lot of things, but I think in the end, planning, good planning, is the number one thing that causes delays or make sure things happen on time.
It all starts with planning. Like you're saying, I mean, if they don't plan it correctly, everything could fall apart, even at the end. And
Yes.
so the planning is utmost importance.
Yes.
Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to thank our audience for joining us for the Drug Lifecycle Minute. You can find out more about us at www.druglifecycle.com. Be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Take control with DLTA. Have a healthy day.